Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 39.
I told you to put oomph in it. Come on.
What? Oomph? Oomph?
Oomph.
Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 39, for the week of April 30th, 2018. Your host is normally Sane Gray, but we are sans sane today. So instead, I will be your host, me, Dalsson. The best.
Yeah.
And Sane will be replaced with an image of a cat.
Yeah.
It's not Sunday, it's usually Monday.
It's usually Monday, but with that type of enunciation, it needs to be Sunday.
Sunday.
We got monster trucks. Kids, get in free.
I don't even know what the hell we're doing. Without Sane, we're completely lost.
Without saying it's complete anarchy, as it very well should be.
Without saying it's complete anarchy, he keeps us in line.
Without saying, we fucking go off on about monster trucks. So, what's your favorite monster truck, Dawson?
Bigfoot.
Fuck, dude, it's not Gravedigger.
Gravedigger. Yeah, Gravedigger's a good one.
The one that's the best that wins all of the monsters.
I want to see Gravedigger and Bigfoot fight. Actually,
I've seen that.
Me too. Actually,
he's the John Cena of the monster truck.
Yeah, when
world.
I was like 2 and I lived in Colorado, I saw Bigfoot and Gravedigger, and they were like smashing cars and shit. It was great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I used to go to like the monster truck rallies like every fucking year. Like my dad would like take me and a bunch of our friends and just fucking we drive on out to Portland and just watch the fucking monster trucks destroy some shit. And like fucking the best goddamn like intermissions, like the halftime shows, they bring out like the fucking Transformers monster trucks. That was some cool ass shit.
Yeah. Or like the fucking like construction machines that would just smash cars up too and shit.
Yeah.
It was great. I have a picture of my floating around of myself like when I was like a little baby Dalsson sitting on Gravedigger's wheel. It's pretty dope. Yeah. Also, like, I'm pretty certain that it's like a Gravedigger's wheel, not the Gravedigger's wheel.
Not
you know
like,
how they do.
It's one of the multiple Gravedigger's wheels driven by one of the multiple drivers of Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Me and my friends used to be obsessed with that shit, but that's because I grew up in a podunk town, and I mean, what the fuck else are you gonna be obsessed with? Monster truck's cool as hell.
Weed?
Well, I mean, I gotta say that a bunch of my friends got obsessed with that, and also methamphetamines. So
I think monster trucks are better.
Monster trucks are definitely better than methamphetamines. If I had to choose one to do for the rest of my life, I would choose monster trucks. Personally.
Weed is debatable, but
weed is debatable.
Definitely monster trucks for
methamphetamine. Yes. Fucking shit.
In any case,
monster trucks are great.
Since Sane isn't here, he's not here to keep us on track, as you can see. So we're going to have to kind of police ourselves. No, we're not going to talk about monster trucks the whole time. We're going to have to police ourselves.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
Sane would normally start, but I think that it should go to Thel, just because he's such a great guy.
I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I started talking about monster trucks, so
let's
there's stuff that we both want to talk about, and there's of course like Infinity War, which you haven't seen, but I have.
Why don't you talk about Infinity War briefly first, just to get it out of the way?
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Long story short, I'm probably not going to talk about it for very long.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, but, it's hard because you can't spoil shit. People would be pissed.
Yeah. I mean, even if I could,
can't tell everybody that Dumbledore dies in Infinity War. Oh shit.
Rest in peace, Dumbledore. You know, I gotta say though, the saddest part of Infinity War, the most depressing part, was when the Invisible Man killed Abbott and Costello.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
The Wolfman tried his hardest to save them, but it just wasn't enough.
He just couldn't. That was a good ass movie.
They would have been screwed though. Anyway, Frankenstein was after them.
Dracula was controlling Frankenstein using mind control.
It's true.
Yeah, fucking Johnny Depp gonna play my favorite goddamn person from the fucking dark universe. I hate that. I don't want Johnny Depp being the Invisible Man. That's the worst.
Why?
I want that.
What's wrong with Johnny Depp?
I mean, he's okay, but I don't want to see him playing the Invisible Man. Get a good actor.
Well, you're not going to be seeing him play the Invisible Man. Yeah, that threw you right the fuck off, isn't it? What do you want to talk about first, though?
What I want to talk about first is the Rachel Dawes documentary, which I saw.
How do you spell Rachel?
Rachel Dozel? I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce her gosh darn name. Rachel, just the Rachel documentary. People probably know what they're talking about. So,
I'm better at spelling Dozel than Rachel.
Yeah, Dozel,
whatever.
Actually, like, they pronounce it in the movie a bunch of different ways. Specifically because a bunch of people did pronounce it a bunch of different ways. So Netflix released a Rachel Dozel documentary.
Okay.
If you're not aware of the controversy, there was a woman who was the leader of a chapter of the NAACP who turned out to have been born to white parents.
If you don't know, you don't live in America or anything, is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Yeah. It's pretty much a very black-led movement, and this woman came in, told everyone that she was black, told everyone that like her parents were black and everything, but she was white and she was raised by white parents.
Right.
There's also some controversy as to the fact that she got a bunch of hate mail, and
the controversy doesn't necessarily stem from the fact that she was a white person who was trying to help colored people. The controversy stems from the fact that she was just straight up pretending to not be white.
Yeah, absolutely. She was pretending and lying to people, telling people that she was black, but it turns out that she was not.
Right.
And also there was another controversy that the thing that actually started this, that started the investigation into it, that they found like her parents and everything. The thing that actually started this was because there were some letters that were put into the NAACP mailbox giving her hate that never went through like the post office. So it was assumed that maybe some of the NAACP put them there themselves, and possibly Rachel did. So they looked into Rachel, they found out that she was white, and she got like a ton of shit for it.
So essentially what you're saying is this particular person is just a bad person.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. This is a documentary that's trying to say the opposite of this. And that's almost the problem. The really interesting stuff about this, big crazy thing that happened was the big crazy things that happened. And that's sort of interspliced in between what this documentary is about. But most of what this documentary is about about Rachel Dozel's like house life, which is kind of boring, to be honest. She's a soccer mom.
Yeah, why would you want to watch it?
Well, here's the thing. Some people who live like this have these crazy house lives. Like, I would love to see a documentary about like Carrie Fisher's house life, because she's like a crazy person.
She is a crazy person. Yeah, that would be a great documentary.
All of the Louis Theroux documentaries where he goes to talk to the Westboro Baptist Church, or like legitimate racists, members of the KKK, and he hangs out with them and like looks at their like house life, not even just showing like the stuff that they do normally, but also the stuff they do that's just regular crazy. And Rachel Dozel doesn't really do any stuff that's just regular crazy in her house life. She's raising 2 kids. She gave birth to another boy. She's got like 3 boys. She raises them. She brings them to school. She brings them to the barber shop. The point is to show that she is human, but unfortunately, this doesn't make for a very interesting documentary. I saw an article, right?
Right.
I saw an article on this that asked the question, do we need a Rachel Dozel documentary? Of course, this was a fucking clickbait article, but I'm going to say no for a completely different reason, in that there's no more story to tell. Like, the story that you could have told was the interesting one, but like the story about the person herself that goes into her home life, there's that. Because like I've talked about a lot of really, 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 really good documentaries. Wild Wild Country was fucking phenomenal, and I goddamn loved it. There was the other one, Making of a Murderer, which was another great one. Tickled, one that came out recently that was just an incredibly fun documentary.
Tickled was like more. Like, the more interesting part about Tickled to me was the stuff that happened around it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like the documentary itself was, I mean, like, it was still interesting, but the fact that think people were going to such lengths to try to suppress this particular documentary about something totally innocuous. Like what? It was dudes who like
no, that's the thing.
tickle
it
boys'
wasn't
feet.
Totally innocuous, and that's what the fucking documentary found out.
Right, but that's what they found out. They thought it was
Yeah.
innocuous when they started, and that's why it's
Yeah.
so like.
Yeah.
That's why it's so strange.
Yeah. It was a great documentary. Wonderful stuff.
What it was
about-
like, it was about like some Craigslist ads for like people wanting to get young boys like
Yeah.
like
Yeah, well,
like young
fits,
adult
like,
men
yeah.
to
To
tickle
be
their
tickled.
feet.
And this guy who is like a homosexual man who is also a documentarian. Specifically, he is homosexual, and this is important because he sent them interviews like, I want to learn more about what you guys are doing here. Could you give me some interviews? I think this would be fun for my fun I interview crazy people show. And they're like, go fuck yourself, you disgusting faggot. What the fuck?
I'm sorry. Wait.
Yeah.
So their company makes movies about tickling
Yeah.
fit young adults. I shouldn't say young adults. We're talking like 18 to 25-ish, right?
Yeah.
So like our age. They make a documentary about tickling young men, and
they are
extremely homophobic. What the fuck?
And then the titles for tickled roll, and then you realize, wow, this is gonna get into some shit. But yeah, we can sit here and talk about interesting documentaries all day, but
the point is, in the end, the Rachel Dolezal documentary was not interesting.
Not super interesting. There's not that much more to tell. They tell the story of Rachel Dolezal pretty like consistently in like the first half hour, and then they just like they pace it out a little bit. But I mean,
so it's like basically just kind of a pure informational documentary about somebody who doesn't really need an informational documentary.
It's like a sympathy piece. It's just showing her home life and how like people are like someone put a banana on her car and they were talking about how this was harassment, and it's basically trying to garner sympathy for her. And that's and it's like it's trying to show that she is just a normal person like you or me, but the documentary is an hour and 40 minutes long.
Strange.
And they get the point across in like the first half hour. It's crazy because it's like you look at a documentary like Wild Wild Country and it's like, yeah, okay, I can understand why this was like a 6-hour long documentary with like 6 episodes. There's a lot of crazy shit that happens. It just keeps ramping up. Oh boy, never a dull moment. But this one's only dull moments. So yeah, and that's what I wanted to say about that one. Let's move on to Infinity War.
Oh boy, I haven't seen it. I was gonna see it, but I canceled with my friends to come home on Thursday night and stream with Thel.
Yeah.
And Thel went to go see it on Thursday night without fucking telling me.
Yeah, I completely blanked that we were going to stream.
Ugh.
I feel so bad for that. I'm
one
so
night
sorry.
every week.
Yeah, one night every week. We have one stream night. Okay, so Infinity War.
It's cool.
Yeah. It's it was I remember when I talked about Black Panther, right?
Okay. For note here, we're likely not going to be discussing any major spoilers.
Oh no, yeah.
We try to avoid spoilers very hard.
Pretty much like entirely. So you remember when I talked about Black Panther?
Yes.
And I told you that like immediately when I sat down in the theater and watched it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw like the intro that explained the Black Panther. I was like sitting there, okay, yeah, this is some more Marvel stuff. But then immediately snapped to a single shot of like a basketball hoop that was a very literal basket with the bottom cut out of it, with just like a big like complex building in the background that looked run down. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna watch.
They want to try and do something,
today.
yeah.
They're these people are going to make. I didn't feel that at any point in Infinity War. And at no point did I like the Marvel's TM, the Avengers TM goggles leave me. Infinity War was like a carnival ride of all of like the fun things that you can see in Marvel. We got Captain America over here. He's got his shield. It's a new shield that was given to him by Black Panther. Speaking of Black Panther, Wakanda right over here. You can see all the people from the new Black Panther movie. That one's still in theaters if you haven't seen it yet. Right there is Spider-Man. Come and see some Spider-Man right over there, ladies and gentlemen.
We have his rights now, sort of.
We have his rights now. We're working with Sony. And I didn't feel like it was a bunch of fight scenes with a bunch of characters that you saw in the other movies.
Mhm.
So I will give it this. There was one really, really good shot, like near the very, very end. It was a very simple shot with Thanos standing over like this, like it was like this like still lake, and off in the distance there was like a Chinese and Japanese structure with a single child sitting there. It was this beautiful, really, really wonderful shot.
Mhm.
Thanos was a pretty good villain. He's in the top. I would say he's one of the better Marvel ones. A lot of the Marvel villains are pretty bad. Thanos was actually pretty good. I complained a little bit about how like they changed his motivation because they didn't build up a lot of the stuff in the original Infinity War comic. If you know anything about the Infinity War comic, you'll know the reason he wanted to get the Infinity Stones is so that he could very literally woo Death, the actual god of death, who's fucking Deadpool.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Who's fucking Deadpool? Yeah. Was Deadpool in it?
No, Deadpool's still on by Fox.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, because he's a mutant technically.
Yeah. We go on.
It's kind of interesting that Thanos is like a decent villain, or that you consider Thanos a decent villain. I'm sure everybody liked it. Everybody liked the movie. I'm sure everybody liked the movie. This is a Marvel movie. Everybody's gonna like it, regardless of whether it's a good movie or not. I have
okay. They're never like.
I have a friend who's very critical of these movies. He basically hasn't liked them. He's seen all of them, but he basically hasn't liked a Marvel movie since Iron Man 1. Right. And he said that this is probably his favorite one to date. So I find it really interesting. Right. He's like really critical of these things. I find it really interesting. I know you're probably more critical than he is even, but I just find it interesting that you still are just kind of like, oh, it's just a theme park ride through Marvel universe.
Yeah.
There's I didn't finish my train of thought with Thanos. I find it interesting that he's like he's a decent villain because like he's kind of just like, I want to be the strongest and the most powerful. And not in the movie. I mean, this is just Thanos' character.
Yeah, in the comics.
Yeah, he's like, I just want to be powerful and take over the universe with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, in the original like old ass comics. Yeah, in the more recent Infinity War, the reason he wanted to do it was so that he could fuck Death itself.
Fair enough.
And in the movie, he does have like a reason that he wants to wipe out half of the fucking population of the universe. And there are some things that he can be kind of a sympathetic villain at some points, which is more than a lot of Marvel villains. So yeah, I will give it this. Thanos is actually a decent Marvel villain. Mm-hmm. There was one good shot in it, but for the most part, it was the superheroes they fight. You can go to the bathroom during the fight scenes because maybe another superhero will show up.
I mean, I don't know. Like, why would you go to see a movie and then superhero movie and then skip the scenes where the superheroes fight? Like, that doesn't.
I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of boring. Like, I've thought that the fucking scenes where the superheroes fight have been boring for like.
Well, sure, okay, but like, if you don't want to see the superheroes fight, why bother going to see that instead of something else?
Yeah. Because you got to talk about it on the podcast. But yeah, what was it? There were a couple things that were a little bit silly. I had a couple problems with the writing. One of the big ones was like they did this thing that I felt like I've talked to Flashton and Appledan about this. I'm not going to get too deep into it just because of the fact that some of it's spoilers. But they did this thing like multiple times where multiple characters had to make a specific choice, and including Thanos. And basically everyone answered yes to this question, for the most part. And I felt like if all of the heroes answered no to this question, but Thanos was the only one who answered yes, it could have been interesting theming. But because like most of the time they answered yes, and a couple times the heroes answered no, it seemed to me more like
they wanted to make it a little more divisive, like Civil War or something. Like,
Well,
some of the heroes just disagree.
Not exactly that. It was more like this is what Marvel Writer Bot 1 and 2 are doing to make tension happen.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like divisive. Like no one's going to be like taking sides for this. There's like obviously like one right answer, but if the heroes decided to answer like the other answer because they're superheroes, then it'd be like, yeah, okay, but they all sort of, you know, did they all kind of answered the same answer that Thanos did.
So it wasn't like there wasn't
what?
like there. So there wasn't like a strong thematic conflict. So what was the point?
Yeah. Well, I do know what the point of it was, and it was specifically just to drive tension, so that to attempt to make Thanos look like a stronger villain, because this is what we have to do to stop Thanos.
Right.
And that's it. When it could have been really interesting theming, but you know.
Yeah. Well.
What are you gonna do? The ending did happen, and a lot of people have been talking about the ending. A lot of people are probably going to call it bold. I'm gonna quote Aqua Teen Hunger first. It don't matter. None of this matters.
It doesn't. It's a comic book.
It's a comic book movie.
It's not gonna matter. They can undo whatever happens. Like I'm pretty sure I know what you're referring to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics of it, but I know what you're referring to.
You know what I'm talking about. If you know anything about Infinity War, you probably have some idea of what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's not. It is.
Yeah.
It doesn't make.
Remember Logan?
Yeah.
I remember Logan.
Yeah.
Logan sure did have some stakes.
Oh man, Logan had some fucking stakes, and those stakes really paid off.
I was thinking about Logan, like, you know, not even just because like it had stakes and it was like, you know, more gory and violent. Like Logan was a more I suppose like adult movie, not because it was really gory and like ultra violent, which it was, and that was fun as hell. But even like if it wasn't like just covered in blood, it still would have been incredibly tense. You make the Logan PG-13, it still would have been a fucking great movie.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like it explored more adult themes.
Even if like Professor Xavier wasn't saying, you motherfuckers every 3 seconds. Logan!
You motherfuckers are gonna kill all my lilies!
Logan! I think these motherfuckers are gonna kill all my lilies. Yeah.
What? Your lilies? Oh, fuck them up.
And then in the end, suddenly he has his fucking confrontation. Finally, they stare each other down. You know, the old Professor X stares down his enemy. The enemy looks him directly in the eyes and says, "God, I'm finally gonna get you back for killing my fucking wife." And then Cisco kills him, and everyone applauded in the theater.
Good job, Cisco.
Everyone did a lot of applauding. I went to like it was like one of those midnight showings at like 10 o'clock.
God, why? Why? It's not like you're applauding actors on a stage. The actors are not there to see you applaud.
I don't have that much of a problem with like applauding at the end of the movie.
Sure.
I really don't.
Like that's obviously a social thing, but doing it in the middle of the movie, like doing it at the end of a scene, like the reason you would do that at like a stage play is to applaud the actors, like, wow, good job, that was some good acting you did on stage, and the actors are there to acknowledge it, take their bows and stuff. But you like applauding in the middle of a movie for something that happens is just like ridiculous. Like, I know a movie theater is like kind of more of a social experience, right? But it's just I don't get it.
Well, it was actually really funny. When the end of the movie came, which was great. I do remember like there is an end credit scene. There's one end credit scene at the very end of the credits. Spoiler alert: there's an end credit scene at the end of a Marvel movie that talks about another character that's going to be coming in
Howard the
soon.
Duck.
Let's just say, you know what? For whatever, let's just say it was Howard the Duck.
Okay.
Not Howard the Duck, but let's say it was.
So
basically, this ending scene happened. You know, Nick Fury was standing there. He like punches like a number into his phone, and he's like, "I need to talk to the greatest Avenger." And Howard the Duck picks up and is like, "Yeah, I'm here." And the entire theater was like, "Oh, Howard the Duck." it's Howard the Duck. It's Howard the Duck. It's Howard
Shit,
the
that's Howard the Duck.
it's Howard the Duck. It's Howard the Duck. It was the entire theater. It was wonderful. I didn't. You see, here's the thing. I live in I live in the middle of nowhere and I don't get out much. So I when people make fun of this I assume that this is like a straw man argument. And I went to see it, and then everyone was just at, oh, Howard the Duck, it's Howard the Duck. Oh my God, it's Howard the, oh, Howard the Duck is coming. Oh yeah, it was Howard the, oh my God, I can't believe Howard
Holy
the Duck.
shit, it's the Millennium Falcon! Ah!
I didn't think that these people existed, but then I actually get, and then I actually, it's one of those wonderful things where I hear about these people existing. I'm like, haha, that's crazy. Haha.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that, but it's that person must have been crazy. It was the whole gosh darn theater. I was sitting there like, wow, holy shit, it's real. This life happened. What the fuck? Okay, yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that was Infinity War. That's all I gotta say about that. That was fun. So let's talk about the things that you have, Dalsson, that you have done that I have not.
That I have done that you have not. Okay.
Yes.
So, most recently, and I'm going to talk about this first because it's fresh in my mind, I'm going to be talking about
just finished playing it.
Lobotomy Corporation.
He just wanted to say that very slowly to make sure you heard him.
Lobotomy.
There's no other reason.
In order to define lobotomy, lobotomy is when you chop off somebody's head and mess with their brain bits. And then a corporation is somebody that is like a company or like a conglomerate of companies that is generally ruled by a CEO and something and that. And, you know, it's so that's to define Lobotomy Corporation.
So defining the Lobotomy Corporation.
Now, Lobotomy Corporation does not perform lobotomies, and they are not a corporation.
Yeah, isn't that right? Huh?
So, what Lobotomy Corporation is, if you're familiar with the SCP Foundation, Secure, Contain, and Protect, it was a collection of short stories that was written long time ago. And
it was a foundation that was founded by J. Edgar Hoover once he found like a button that blew up the world.
Was it really? Was that the actual story?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But the
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I did not. SCP Foundation. It all started with one little creepy story about a statue that if you looked away from it, it would move at crazy speeds and strangle you to death. So somebody had to be watching it at all. And from there, and this story was named SCP-193 or something.
Yeah.
And so the name of that story kind of sparked this whole set of stories where it's just it's written in the format of like a data log, like somebody typing information into a computer in order to like catalog research about these objects, because that's how the original story was written. And there are like in this day and age there are like thousands upon thousands of these little short stories,
so
and a lot of them are trash. But
most probably.
But early on, when they had like maybe 1,000 numbered SCPs, like it was still these stories were still going pretty strong. Some of them were worse than others, and they're not all things that'll like kill you or strangle you to death. Some of them are like really innocuous. Like one of them is just a vending machine that you can put any liquid that you want and it'll spit it out. And it always has spooky things, like said vending machine, if you ask for a pint of human blood, then maybe one of your coworkers is going to pass out because a pint of human blood just got drained from them through like blue space or something. You know, you don't really know how it works. That's the whole interesting part, is that it's mysterious, you know? Yeah. And I have kind of been trying to get back into SCPs, but there's just so many of them, and I don't know which ones are any good. Point,
I would suggest that you don't like.
So when I picked up Lobotomy Corporation. Now, to actually talk about the game, Lobotomy Corporation is a management sim primarily, where you have to perform. Holding on.
Oh no!
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Sorry. A
management simulation where you have to.
Be right back.
Sure. It is a management sim where you have to kind of build up your SCP containment facility. It's called Lobotomy Corp, but it's essentially identical to the SCP facility they talk about in the SCP stories. You have to build up your facility, contain new anomalies, I believe they call them, because they can't call them SCPs. That would violate Creative Commons or some dumb shit. You have to build up your facility, you collect different anomalies, and you perform research on these anomalies. And researching and interacting with these anomalies generates energy, which is the primary mechanic of the game. In order to advance to the next level, you have to generate enough energy. So the difference from SCP is secure, contain, and protect. All they want to do is contain these strange objects and keep them from the public eye and keep them from ending the world. Whereas Lobotomy Corporation is using the objects that they collect in order to basically be a power plant. They find that interacting with these objects can create unlimited amounts of energy. Now, that's pretty much just a justification for a game mechanic. The game mechanic that you really are trying to pay attention to is managing your people, making sure they don't go insane or get killed by some of the more dangerous objects. You need to manage your facility because every time you interact with one of these objects, it increases the, eldritch danger level. I've already forgotten what it's called. It increases the eldritch danger level or whatever of the entire facility. And the higher your eldritch danger level goes, the more likely your objects and things that you're guarding are to break containment. You obviously don't want these dangerous world-ending things to break containment. If they break containment, they'll end the world or kill your people or something like that. Some of them are much more innocuous. Like there's a floating skull which you confess your sins to and it generates energy. If it breaks containment, it just starts draining the energy out of your entire facility, which just takes longer to complete the level. So nothing bad is really going to happen if you let it break containment. You just are going to have to be stuck on that level for even. Now, what I really like about it is that it scratches that same itch that I've been wanting from SCP stories, because you're the one sitting there doing the research on these strange objects, these anomalies, and as you do more research, more and more data logs open up about them. So it works the same way as SCP Foundation, where the stories written about these objects are like data logs, and sometimes even reading the story you can find out more about, like sometimes the story will say, subjects exposed to F0102XYZ have been seen to regain their sanity after a traumatic event. And so you know that if your character's low on sanity, you can have it interact with that other SCP, and you might get some sanity back from it just by reading the story. So it's really interesting, and I think a lot of the stories are well written. It was kickstarted, I believe, or it was kickstarted by some Korean kickstarting site, because I think that's the original game, is a Korean game. Yeah. And they also have a lot of stories and SCPs designed by backers, which is also really neat. But you can distinguish them before you pick them up. So if you want to avoid them ones written by backers because you're worried they just might not be the same quality, you can. It's very nice. I haven't gotten very far in it, but it seems like there is a lot of mechanical depth to it. Like, you can unlock different teams. Like, the first team you have is the control team, which is just the basic game part of it, right? And you have to equip them with, an array of stuff so that they can deal with pretty much everything. But as you go on, you can unlock, your information team, which will have much better time researching the actual anomalies, learning about them instead of just gathering power from them, and your security team, which you can just have on standby to run out and suppress any containment breaches. It's really interesting. And there's also a story component to it. In between every day, you get this visual novel style story where you interact with your secretary AI and other guys that manage departments. It's just a really good game. I mean, it's a little steep right now at $25, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, like atmospheric kind of stories and management simulations, I would recommend picking it up even at full price. It's pretty fun so far, and there's a lot of
I'm
mechanical
actually
depth.
really interested in it just because I really have been looking for some good management simulations, and I want a good city sim, but I'm making do with like
unfortunately I don't believe you get to build like actually build your containment facility.
And
but you manage like the teams that manage the, so it's like a macro management simulation. You manage the teams that take care of your facility, and therefore you so there's the macro management, and then there's the micro management, but there's no like in between where you get to build your facility from the ground up.
That actually reminds me, I did play a game this week. Are you done with that one?
I'm pretty much through with Lobotomy Corporation.
Okay.
I'll have to put more time into it before I say anything.
Now that you mentioned Lobotomy Corporation, I was reminded of this game. I played the Space Hills Galactology, which I can actually talk about on the podcast now that I played like I think 3 hours of it or something. So my conclusion on this game is it's bad. It's not really very good.
Why?
First off, the tutorial is a.
Hang on, let me stop you. I have a question. When you say it's bad, are you saying it's a bad game, like from a game design standpoint in the first place, or are you saying it's just not as good as other city sims you've played? I know you play a lot of city sims.
First off, yeah, I'm going to say yes to both of those. And it's not so much, and it's not really a city sim. It's more of a really bad ripoff of RimWorld.
I see.
So, the first problem that I ran into was the tutorial was the weirdest goddamn thing I have ever played. Like, I had to play the tutorial twice to understand what it was trying to tell me.
Okay.
Which, within, like...
No, Lobotomy Corporation did not have a good tutorial. In fact, I made this joke a couple times. Sorry to cut you off there, but, in Lobotomy Corporation's tutorial, it taught you, like, how to use the controls of the game, and then, like...
And nothing else.
And then it like, told you... Yeah, here we're gonna show you how to suppress a containment breach. To learn more about what happens or what causes a containment breach, you'll just have to read the manual. And I kept making Cromartie High School jokes, like, oh, if you want to find out how I wound up here at Lobotomy Corporation, you'll just have to read the manual. It's like,
yeah.
So Lobotomy Corporation had a pretty lousy tutorial.
And I'll put it this way. The tutorial wanted me to do things wrong. Like, it specifically told me to do things that I would never have done in any situation. Like, what it wanted me to do specifically was, the first thing it wanted me to do was build a very small kitchen, which even the second time, like, doing it, like, I messed with the tutorial, like, the first time I was like, oh, okay, so you want me to build a kitchen like this, right? Okay, so I'll just build it, like, big, right? No, you have to build it to these blocks. Why? You have just because I told you to. RimWorld, which
I don't know. A lot of times tutorials will like force you to just do what it tells you.
Oh right? yeah, and this one did. But here's the thing: RimWorld. The big problem with it is RimWorld, right? I knew what to do in RimWorld in like 15 minutes after the tutorial was done. It took me like 2 hours in doing the tutorial twice to figure out what this game was. And this game is a lot more simple than RimWorld.
I see.
First thing, it really like locks you to like building a tiny room. And that was kind of a problem. And then like I did the tutorial, one of the things that I noticed is one of the things that it wanted me to do was have like a completely quote unquote fully realized base for all of my people so that they could have their full happiness, which part of that I have to research soap so that they can clean themselves. I started researching that, but I hadn't finished the tutorial. So when the tutorial got to like the part where it's like, all right, so here's how you're going to learn how to do research stuff. So start researching security for some reason. What the fuck? And not only that, but when I did like create the tiny little kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
My guys could barely move around, and what it told me to do was it told me to put the place where my guys would like store the food in front of the like stove, so they couldn't get to it to cook. So I was like, what? I have to put it there? Why? That seems like a bad idea. So, you know, I did put it there, so I had to, like, delete the stove and move it, and then, like, I had to do this tutorial twice, and then I had to move it over. And then, the more I played, the more I realized that the UI is so bad. Like I said, this game is a lot less complex than RimWorld. Imagine RimWorld, but you have a bunch of little guys, and like how you're always constantly running around trying to bend over backwards to make your guys happy so they don't go fucking crazy in RimWorld.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but like it hardly feels like it matters at all for your guys.
I see.
Like there was a point where my guys were like dying of thirst, and I didn't like notice until they were like dying of thirst. Because for some reason, even though everyone was set to cook, no one was cooking.
I see.
And even if you do set people to cook, one of the things is like the way that you people get they have like a level up system like in RimWorld, but people don't start with things that they are good at. You have to level them up so that they can be good at things. But if you set everyone to cook, everyone's going to cook and become like good scientists. So you have to set some people to cook and some people to not. If you want some people to not be scientists and have like a bunch of jobs completely locked off to them because scientists can't do engineering jobs and stuff like that. And then sometimes you end up with like nobody's cooking because you did that, so you have to set everyone to cook, but then they end up as scientists and it's terrible.
That sounds pretty awful, actually.
Because everything for some reason levels up really, really slowly except for scientists and except for cooking, which I don't know why. The UI is really bad. Because first off, one of the reasons that like I would never notice that something was going wrong is because up in like the top there was like the alerts. And you know how like in RimWorld or in any other management simulation when you get like an alert, if the like alert is over, the alert goes away.
Yeah.
Like almost on its own sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to exit all of these alerts out on your fucking own. You got to do that shit manually, and it gives you alerts for fucking everything. For the most inconsequential shit, like your spaceship just landed in another planet instantaneously after you told your spaceship to land in another planet.
Why do you need to alert me to that?
Oh, yeah, I know. I watched the spaceship land there. Well, I guess it's just gonna fucking be, that alert's just gonna be there for fucking ever. Unless you close out of it yourself, so you gotta go close like 1 million alerts because you're doing like 15 other things and don't want to have to go manually close out alerts. And another big problem is like I said, that's one of the problems with UI. But everything in the UI, to do everything, is so overly complicated. It makes the game seem a lot more complex than it is.
Right.
Do you want to know how you cook food in RimWorld?
Yeah, you go into your kitchen and you say,
yeah,
cook,
go to the stove.
Cook
you click
either infinitely a set number of times or until you have this many, and then you tolerance
you go to the
do
stove,
it.
you set bills, you make a bill to cook this type of food, set the number, and you're fucking good. What you do in Spatial's Galactology is you have to go into the information tool by pressing escape or the thing over. Then you need to go over to the tool. You can't just like click on it or right click on it. You have to go to your specific tool. Then you go to it. Then you go to the specific tab for bills rather than like the tab that talks about what all of the people have been doing it. Then you go into then you go into the add bills menu. Then you go into the next add bills thing, which brings up a window that says add bills. Now you can type in whatever bills you want. And if you want to add a bill for like a different like water or food, you have to add 2 separate bills. So and they won't do them at the same time, even though you need both. So you have to build 2 kitchens to be able to fucking have water and food if you want them coming out at the same time. Which is why RimWorld doesn't have water.
Well, if I feel like if RimWorld had water, you wouldn't have to cook water.
Water, yeah. You have to make bottled water, or they just won't drink. You do that. You select the number of bills, then it puts the bills in like the bills tab. Then you have to click on that bill and then click add bill outside of the menu. And then it adds it. It is the most complex bullshit for the simplest fucking thing.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
Not only another thing, part of my problem maybe was that I was thinking too much in RimWorld's thing, right? What I was doing was that I was making like specific rooms for each of my 6 colonists, which was kind of a pain in the ass.
Okay.
And maybe And I was thinking this because in RimWorld, people don't like to have like a big barracks where they have to sleep in the same room as everyone else. People like to have a little bit of privacy. And in RimWorld, it explains this to you perfectly. There was a point in time where I was playing RimWorld where I just put all of the beds in the thing. This was the first time. The tutorial didn't say it, but then I suddenly looked at all of my people's happiness and
they
stuff,
said,
like,
"Oh, we're
I
unhappy
fucking
because..."
sleeping in the same room as everyone. This sucks butt. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna change that in that case. I am never told anything like that in the Spaceless Galactology. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do next, aside from their, like, goals that give you money. And this is the biggest problem with Spaceless Galactology. This is supposed to be a money-making sim. This is, in the end, your colonists are not so much like RimWorld colonists. You're supposed to be, like, having them make, like, a tourist destination where you can, like, make money and, like, go to different planets and harvest, like, off-planet resources and stuff. And like start a trading empire.
Right.
But in like a game where you do that, right? Like Roller Coaster Tycoon, any city sim, money is used to build like carnival rides or more blocks or stuff like that. In this game, you use resources to build all of your stuff.
Like, the money is
Yeah, you know how like you use silver in RimWorld like sparingly every once in a while when you need to buy something?
Yeah, because silver is like really hard to come by.
Yeah, imagine like if RimWorld was like designed around getting silver, but had all of the ability to spend silver as it's making money for the sake of nothing.
So you don't even like like it would be like if RimWorld, like your goal was to get silver, but there's no traders.
And the truth is, maybe there does something comes up at some point. But I didn't play that deep into it because everything feels like it takes too long to do it. Like every day in RimWorld, it feels like I need to do something else or I'm working on something new. In Spaceless Galactology, I'm sitting there on my butt, just like, all right, come on.
I'm gonna make $700 today.
Yeah, well, not even that. I never even got like that far. I was like, okay, so I guess I'm going to like research this thing. Then maybe it'll get me like tourists to come in.
Yeah,
I guess. But that's gonna take 50 billion years to research if one of my scientists wants to stop fucking cooking. And yeah, it's not a super good game. Not exactly.
Well, that's disappointing.
So yeah.
So the verdict is play RimWorld.
Oh, the verdict is the verdict on RimWorld is play RimWorld. The verdict is, oh, are you feeling like playing Spaceless Galactology? Do you want to play a game that's like Spaceless Galactology? Play RimWorld. Oh, but I actually want to make money. Play RimWorld. Oh, but I want to make money. I want to make money. Oh, there are a million other games you can do that in. Go play
Roller Coaster Tycoon. Go play SimCity.
Yeah, if you want the same amount of thrill that the tourism thing and this will give you, go play like Planet Coaster or something. Like go play a game where you make money.
But I want it to be sci-fi. Sci-fi would be really great. Oh, play Stellaris.
Fucking sci-fi. Yeah, Stellaris. Fucking Endless Space is really good. Go
Endless
play
Space
Endless
is incredible. I like Endless Space a lot more than Stellaris. But that's because I don't like the real-time shit in Stellaris. That's my only issue with it.
Stellaris, I enjoy Endless Space more than Stellaris. But I like Stellaris, and I really like what the company has been doing with Stellaris.
I definitely agree with that.
Constantly updating, doing a lot of good stuff.
They're doing really good shit with Stellaris,
fucking Endless Space, Roller Coaster Tycoon, RimWorld. All of these games can be played instead of Spaceless Galactology. It's not as deep as it looks. It's complex in ways that it should not be, and in the ways that it should be complex, it is lacking complexity. But makes it look like it's complex by
just mod Dwarf Fortress. If you want it really to be that complex and sci-fi, just mod Dwarf Fortress.
Well, yeah, not only that, if you want like the UI to be that complex, just go play Dwarf Fortress. Fucking RimWorld is great because it simplifies the stuff that should be simplified and complexifies the stuff that should be complex.
Exactly. Uh-oh. Oh, we have an issue. Oh, this is bad news. Bad news bears.
What happened?
Okay, no, we're back. Technical difficulties. Sane never cuts out like this. He's a good boy.
Yeah. So basically, what I said while we were technical difficulties is that play Rimworld. It's the same thing I've said for like 3 minutes. Okay. So now let's talk about the thing that both of us have seen. Let's finally get to the meat and potatoes of this fucking show.
One sec.
The
The stream is reconnecting.
Oh,
we don't. It's
okay.
still recording, so we don't necessarily need to cut this part out.
Okay. So yeah, we're just gonna wait. Wait till it connects. Wait till it connects. We need to entertain the people who are watching on YouTube, though. You know, we do need to do that.
We should actually.
So anyway, let's talk about monster trucks again.
Yes, no, monster trucks. That's ridiculous. Why would we talk about monster? Fuck that. Monster trucks are stupid.
Don't even joke about that, boy.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
You didn't fucking mean that shit.
I did not mean it.
That. I understand, and
Monster trucks aren't stupid. Monster trucks are really cool. They're like trucks, but they're just huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
the stream is back, so let us continue.
Okay. So now we can talk about fucking Aggretsuko.
Oh my god,
shit.
Aggretsuko.
So let me explain how we got on to watching Aggretsuko.
Yeah.
So me and Dalsson, this was last week. We didn't do the podcast like
Aggretsuko. Hold on, wait. Before that, let's explain what it is. Aggretsuko is a
red panda.
Aggretsuko is a small, like kind of skit show that they used, I believe, as commercial bumpers in Japan or something.
That or
about,
it was just a YouTube show.
Or it was just a YouTube show. Yeah, we're not 100% sure, but it's been going on for quite a long time, and it's about a little red panda girl who has a shitty office job, and she kind of hates her job, but you gotta work. So
yeah.
In order to blow off steam, she just sings death metal, and it's great.
Yeah. And Dalsson was talking to me about the little web show, and he was like, I want to watch more of these. I want to watch more of this Aggretsuko stuff. I want to watch all of these Aggretsuko things. And it was like,
Aggretsuko, by the way, is short for aggressive Retsuko. The red panda's name is Retsuko.
Yeah. And so I went on YouTube and I found like a playlist of them. I was like, half of these have been deleted because of copyright, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, well, I guess we are watching them. So then we were talking like 2 days later. I go on to Netflix because we were going to watch Deep Space Nine or something. I'm like, hey, Dalsson, look what I found on Netflix. It's like Aggretsuko. And it's like, yeah, you want to watch these? I was like, yeah. I saw that they were like 15-minute episodes. There were about 10 of them. So I thought they were just like
we were sitting there, just
and
like waiting for a
versions of their like the web series counterpart.
Yeah, we were just waiting for a little skit show like. Aggretsuko's using the copy machine and her coworker's gossiping. She's pissed off because her coworker's gossiping and she sings a song about how she should just do her job.
Yeah. We were expecting like it to be a super episodic like that.
Mm-hmm.
What we got and what a lot of people are discovering, thankfully, is that was not the case at all. What we ended up with was one of the most wonderful animes we have seen in a long time.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, we both fucking loved Aggretsuko.
It like blew me out of the water. It's got to be one of the best animes I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it was crazy good. It follows a plot.
Yeah, it follows a 10-episode plot arc. Like the episodes aren't necessary. They all have, each episode has its own like internal story, but the internal story, it's not even like some serialized shows where they do an like a story that they just kind of reveal more at the end of each thing. It's like each has like an internal situation, right? Like in this episode, Aggretsuko is trying to find a boyfriend so she can quit her shitty job and become a housewife. Or in this episode, Aggretsuko is trying to suck up to her boss because her boss is shitty and he hates her. But each episode like is a direct continuation of the last, so it's all one long story.
And it is wonderful. All of the characters are wonderful. Everything in this show is wonderful. I've seen it twice.
Yeah, there isn't a single character who is like absolutely irredeemably awful. Including the ones that are supposed to be irredeemably awful. Like her shitty boss, towards the end of the series.
Director Ton.
Director Ton. In the middle of the series, like you think maybe he's gonna be kind of like start being a nice guy, but it goes so wrong. And then towards the end, like he gets he has this kind of, it's not really a redemption arc. Like, it goes back a little bit to
Yeah.
the status quo, but he has this really humanizing moment that makes him more than just a shitty boss.
Yeah.
It's
It is a wonderful show. That's basically all I can say. Each character is fully developed. You have great fucking characters who you've all like. It's gotten to the point where like everyone who has seen this has like changed their icon to a specific character. All
Yeah.
have like different characters. So like we have like Aggretsuko's friends.
Finico and Haida are the
Finico
two.
and Haida.
Finico is a
hyena
Finnick
and a
fox,
Finnick
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finico her whole character is like this. Basically, her whole character is she's a two-faced bitch, and like she like stalks people on social media. She can find out anything about anybody just by using her phone all the time, and Haida is like he seems like just this office worker. Yeah, he's just this great hyena man, and like you could totally tell from the get-go that he has a huge crush on Aggretsuko. Like it's not like it's not a hidden fact. That certainly comes up more and more.
There are also Gori and Washimi, who are like the two women who run the entire company by themselves.
Yeah, Gori is like a high-ranking, just kind of a high-ranking company person, and Washimi.
She like is the director of marketing, and Washimi is like the secretary to the CEO who does his job for him.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
As secretaries do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's and they have like a wonderful there's like a great joke that I love in this. Specifically when Retsuko wants to have something done about like her boss is incredibly sexist and she wants something done about that. Washimi goes to the CEO of the corporation and like, talks him down and tells him like, all right, listen, we need to do something about Director Tan. He's being a sexist and stuff. And then it like has like it cuts to a different scene where, like this triumphant music is playing throughout all of it. And it like cuts to a different screen of like Gori, the other one, walking towards like the camera. And then she just stops.
And then she's like, wait
a second, hold on. Where am I going? I don't actually have anything to do that would help this. And it just walks away.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
those two characters, like, they're introduced. Oh shit, Aggretsuko 556. Like, my God, I'm really fucking it up with this text thing. I don't know how Sane manages it. Washimi and Gori are like turn out to be really great characters. They like end up making friends with Retsuko. Like, this is a little spoilery, but it's kind of like almost the main point of the series. So, they wind up making friends with Aggretsuko and. like as they're introduced, they're these like larger than life characters. There's no way that anybody could like even like come to their level, but it's immediately foreshadowed that would maybe not foreshadowed necessarily, but it's immediately played off like, okay, they're human. They're not human, but you know what I mean. They're human too, because as soon as they go around a corner and are out of sight from everybody, Gori's like, God, walking like this really hurts my back, and Washimi's like, okay, deal with it.
We gotta look like professionals.
Yeah,
don't worry, I'll recommend you a good chiropractor.
Yeah, exactly. So like all of the characters are just so real, even the ones that are like within the company seem like they're like totally not out of your league romantically, but just like totally out like people who aren't even human.
Aren't even on like the same level in the company.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things. There's been this like huge growth of this genre of anime about like 25 to 30-year-old women who are sick and tired of their jobs, and I love this fucking this wonderful genre of anime, sad 30-year-old anime women.
Yeah.
I talked about what was it? Confessions of an MMO Addict, who the story is just like she left her job so that she could be a NEET forever because she's fucking sick and tired of their job. This huge like attack on Japanese work culture, which this is, Aggretsuko, like even in its inception as these little like skits were just this big shit take at Japanese business culture, and it's wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm happy that these things.
And
great goddamn
and
things.
Retsuko is great at her job, and she just gets treated like shit, and that's her whole problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like they have all of the. through the social commentary comes some of the best stories that anime is bringing us nowadays. You know, we got all this stuff, but let me tell you, you can give me as many crazy bullshit animes as you want about magical girls and shonen men fighting. I want to see animes about 30-year-old depressed women.
Yeah,
That's what I'm in this shit for.
It's wonderful. I cannot actually praise Aggretsuko enough. Like, seriously, if you have a Netflix account, and who the fuck doesn't, if you don't take any offense to that, just go watch Aggretsuko. It's 10 episodes long. They're 15 minutes apiece, including the intro. You can be done with it in 3 hours, and if you didn't like it, well, I don't.
Didn't waste that much time,
you didn't waste that much
Also,
time, but I don't know why you wouldn't like it. There's no way you won't like it.
Yeah,
like, seriously,
it's wonderful. It's one of those things that I would go so far as to say it's like, oh yeah, you should probably have Netflix for like Stranger Things, BoJack Horseman, and Aggretsuko.
Yeah, seriously, like this particular show is Netflix produced, so it's only on Netflix. You probably won't find it anywhere else. But
I mean, there are other places you can find it, but we are not allowed to condone. But Sane says I'm not allowed to condone that.
Well, Sane's not here. You can also find it on Netflix. Shit. No, yeah, that's it. That's it. You can find the shorts on Daily Motion. Like, if you're not totally sold on the idea of, if say you don't have Netflix.
Not even sold on like the premise of like the shorts. This is like they took the idea of what the shorts were and just elevated it to like another level. They gave it like a really, really good story.
Oh yeah,
they took this like a really simple thing and just made it really good. So
yeah, it's fantastic, phenomenal.
It's fucking great.
For the end all be all of this conversation, like, just go watch Aggretsuko. There's no more. There's no more that we can say about it. Like, it's hard to even spoil Aggretsuko, because even if you talk about little things that happen in it, it's just, like, it's one of those things that's also more than a sum of its parts, too. So, it's just, you just have to see it. It's incredible. And watch it in Japanese. It's one of those series that the English voice acting is not...
People really do like the dub. A lot of people love it.
I feel like the English voice acting isn't great, but more importantly, I feel like some of the things, even though it was written simultaneously in English and Japanese, some of the things are just kind of lost in truth. Like,
I would suggest watching it Japanese just because I believe you should watch everything in the
I'm in full agreement. If it came out in that language,
it probably should be watched in that, just so you can hear the original inflection with which the actors are using.
Right.
You know, that was the way it was intended to be watched.
Yes. God, what else do we have? Do we have much else?
I think
we have 2 weeks worth of stuff, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't really do anything else. Last week, I mostly worked on the Hollow Knight video, and I finished all the stuff I did this week. Did you do anything last week?
Did I talk about Prismata? I've forgotten now.
Yes, you did, but that was
I did talk about Prismata. Okay. I don't have much more to add to Prismata, so I just wanted to know if I talked about it. So yeah. I actually don't have a break overlay. Sane did not give me a break overlay. So
just play your regular break overlay. The horrible "we'll be right back" thing. Do that.
Okay.
We can edit that out in the video. We can change that.
Sure. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a short break. How about we return at 5:25? You need 5-10-minute break.
5 minutes should be fine.
Okay. Welcome back to the Graveyard Media Podcast, Monday Super Slam.
We know you're at work on Mondays, but we're gonna slam your super anyway.
All right. So, we have some news, and due to the fact that I am recording off of Discord, I am unable to introduce it, so we'll have to leave that up to Sane. Sane?
Yeah.
All right, Thel.
Okay, all right, yeah. I'll do it.
Why don't you start with movie news?
Let's go up to the top. Start with movie news?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I suppose we can do that. That's
pretty sure there's less of it.
I think there is, yeah. All right. So, first thing is Stranger Things season 3 is filming. We might have covered this last week, but there's not much to talk about it.
We
anyway,
didn't cover it
so...
last week because we didn't talk last week. We didn't.
Well, I
cast
mean
last
the week before, but yeah, it's Stranger Things season 3 starts filming.
Which means you can look for Stranger Things season 3 soon in a Netflix near you.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that I would suggest like picking up Netflix for because it's pretty good. Okay. Next thing, Infinity War fucking busted bank to the point where it actually beats Star Wars's fucking record. It beat the Force Awakens' weekend record.
That's actually kind of surprising. At first I was like, wow, nobody's surprised, but it beat out Star Wars. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
I can't believe the company that runs Marvel Studios beat the company that makes Star Wars. Wow. They must be so proud of themselves.
What a fucking competition we have. It sure is crazy when movies compete like this, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Rest in peace, the film industry. We knew you well. Glad it's dead, honestly.
We can move on to better artistic mediums like video games.
And this next fucking article really pounds in why it's nice that Hollywood is going down the fucking drain.
All right, who got raped this time?
No, well, not literally for fucking once. This is a story about Terry Gilliam's film, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, which, holy fuck.
Oh yeah,
this
Luffy.
All right, so
a documentary about Monkey D. Luffy? I can't wait.
Well, it's not a documentary, it's a film directed by Terry Gilliam, which is a name that you might be familiar with if you know anything about what Monty Python is.
Oh, thank God. How does this exemplify why it's good that Hollywood is dying?
I'm about to get into that.
Okay.
So, Terry Gilliam, since working with Monty Python, has directed a plethora of movies. For instance, Brazil, Time Bandits, Baron Munchausen. How many of these have you heard of? Probably a couple of them, but the truth is you probably haven't heard a lot about them. Let me explain. The reason that you haven't heard a lot about these movies is I talk about a lot about studios fucking people over. Like, for instance, I talk about Guillermo del Toro constantly being fucked over. Like, the instant he left the studios, they went ahead with Pacific Rim 2 and a new Hellboy movie, even though he'd been trying to get those made for years. Excuse me. And the studios have been constantly fucking over, like, what he wanted to do with all of his movies, and just shitting on him. And this happens to a bunch of different directors who just get, like, fucked by studios who think that the market research says that people won't like these movies. Terry Gilliam has been the biggest piece of shit, pain in the ass, thorn in the side of every fucking studio he's ever worked with.
Why?
There is only one movie he has ever made compromise with, and that was The Brothers Grimm. So
he directed that too?
Yeah.
I did not know that movie was directed by the Monty Python guy.
Yeah, well, one of the Monty Python guys.
A Monty Python guy.
A Monty Python man. The first movie, like, his first movie, Brazil, was... I've talked about Brazil before. It is the best film adaptation of 1984, except instead of it being about 1984, it's about, like, instead of where 1984 is about, you know, oppressive, like, communistic regimes that are totalitarian communistic regimes, Brazil is about bureaucracy and how, like, one fly on one note fucks an entire man's life up, and it's just the same story as 1984, but about bureaucrats.
Good.
The student, and it's a wonderful,
also known as
Futurama,
film. Hermes episodes.
Basically, except it talks about how horrible bureaucrats are. It's a wonderful, beautiful film that the studios hated because it had, like, a not a happy ending at all, and also it's had, like, a lot of commentary, and studios don't like these things because they don't think these things are going to make money. So
if a lot of people are talking about it, how, in what fucking world is a thing that a lot of people are talking about not going to make money?
Well, That's the thing. A lot of people weren't talking about it at the time. This is back in the 80s, right?
Okay, I thought you, when you said it had a lot of commentary, I thought you meant at the time.
He said political commentary is in like the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Terry Gilliam starts a fucking fire under the goddamn studio's thing. He's like releasing ads and doing like a private screenings to like film schools and critics and all of this shit. And he releases like ads saying, "Dear this specific person at the fucking Universal Studios, why will you not release my film, Brazil?"
Holy shit.
And just being like, because of the fact that he has Monty Python fame, his name is like known. People hear Terry Gilliam, they think Monty Python, you think Monty Python's Flying Circus, all of the Monty Python movies. They think, oh, okay, I know who this man is. I know exactly who this man is. Hey, I like Monty Python. What the fuck releases film? And they don't until it wins a Critics Award. And they're like, all right, fuck it. All right, we'll release your film as it is. Okay, we won't Blade Runner this piece of shit. Fuck. And this happens with all of his films. Like, all of his films are incredibly divisive. Specifically, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is a movie that has been in development for almost 30 fucking years now.
Jeez.
It has gone from shooting to not shooting to not shooting, from studio to studio to studio to studio, and is currently right this very second being sued by a big studio. It's suing Terry Gilliam for attempting to bring this movie to other places because that man says that he owns it. And Keynes, we had a little bit of talk about how Keynes was doing the Netflix thing, and we can agree or disagree about Keynes' belief on that. What they are doing that is very good, that I feel like overrides that makes them like look good, is even though there is a fucking like dispute over who owns it, they don't give a fuck. They're saying
just
we're
showing
going
the
to side
movie
with artistic integrity, and we're showing the fucking movie anyway.
Hell yes!
It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Good work, Keynes. I can't wait to see this fucking movie. Probably coming to Amazon and or Netflix at some point in time. Unless this man makes sure that this movie is never released, like a court thing goes through. I don't know. We'll see it. If anything, this man will sell it to like Criterion or some shit. And we'll get it like we got fucking Time Bandits.
Or he'll just like upload it to a torrent website himself.
Yeah, fuck. I wouldn't be surprised. Terry Gilliam would do something like that.
It'll get leaked.
Hell, leaked. Terry Gilliam's gonna fucking accidentally leak. Oh no, the Pirate Bay got a hold of my movie. What do I do? Oh,
I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault.
That could have happened. Oh, jeez. The Keynes, like the people who run Keynes. Oh no, we couldn't hold on to the movie. It got leaked suddenly. Must have been some sort of insider. Oh no, who could have known? Now it looks like everyone will be able to see the movie for free.
Oh.
Thank you, Keynes. Thank you for bringing us this movie that has had so many problems. Specifically, like 50 goddamn, like multiple people.
It's not even.
Have been, like,
doesn't even sound like problems. It just sounds like
well
bureaucratic blocking.
Well, not only bureaucratic blocking, but there were problems. Like, multiple people have died during the production of this movie. Like, multiple big actors that are in the movie specifically have died during it. They've lost all of their equipment before. And they've, like, because of all of these problems that have happened, they have, all of the studios have been like, yeah, okay, well, you guys are over budget, and we're not going to fund you anymore for any more equipment. You lost that one, so fuck it. We're not going to give you any more. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of reasonable though. If like they go over their budget, then like they can't really.
And that was the thing. Monty Python and Terry Gilliam has always gone over budget. Like, even there's that famous story about the fucking Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The reason they don't have credits is because they ran out of money for credits.
That's
like,
pretty funny.
Legitimately, that's why they just have like a blinking colored screen instead of like credits for that movie, is because they just ran out of money.
How the fuck you run out of money for credits? I can like I can just press a button and it rolls some fucking credits in OBS that the computer generated for me. Like,
well, yeah, but they didn't have that back when they made that movie. So
okay, fair enough, I guess.
But still, it's not an expensive thing.
You just have some of the actors be like, "Hey, I'll give you like $30 if you like flip these title cards around."
Something like that, yeah. Oh yeah, and also how they wanted horses, but they didn't have money for horses.
Oh
That's why
yeah,
they did
yeah.
the coconut thing. Yeah,
But
that's a famous
that made
story.
one of like the most famous jokes in like
In the
media.
whole thing. Yeah, and it's great. It's all of the Terry Gilliam stories are we ran out of money, so
Yeah, pretty much. Or the actor of the old wizard guy, I can't even remember his name, but the actor of the old wizard guy who also couldn't remember his own name, so he said, "I am the great wizard Ron." whatever he said. Yeah,
I don't remember what it was. It's been a while since I've seen this film. But yeah, Terry Gilliam is releasing a new film. I love Terry Gilliam's films. They're
excellent.
Crazy motherfucking like when I say art film, there's a certain thing that comes into everyone's mind. Like I'll call House an art film, the Japanese film from the 70s. We'll call House. Yeah. I'll call that movie an art film, and then everyone is like an art film that was released on Criterion in production with Janus Films, and people have like this, this image of like stock or a slow moving like film, and then they'll see like a severed head bite a woman on the butt.
Everybody will watch House and be like, "What the fuck? I can't believe they aped off My Chemical Romance for that song they keep playing in it."
I forgot about that.
That's what you'd hear nowadays, Thel. Don't forget about that.
No, you guys constantly like brought that up. You're like, it sounds like the My Chemical Romance song. I'm like, what? And then you guys like link me to oh my god.
Yeah.
Fucking song.
There's a little this movie was released in what, 1970 something?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the main themes of the movie, because I'm sure that a majority of people watching do not know anything about this Japanese art film.
That I made these guys watch.
Throughout a majority of the movie, there is a piano that's like kind of a centralized concept, and on this piano, one of the girls keeps playing this tune that goes do 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 do.
Yeah.
Do do do, and I was like, God, that sounds like through the whole movie. I was like, that sounds so familiar. Where do I know that tune from? It's straight up My Chemical Romance flat out sampled the tune from that movie for the beginning of for the background music of Welcome to the Black Parade. It's ridiculous. And I mean, it's not like this horrible, egregious thing.
Oh yeah, no.
Like
that's
fucking musicians sample shit all the time. Who gives a shit?
Well, I mean,
it's
that's
just
one of the things. One of the reasons, like, I rewatched Suspiria like last year was because there was like a specific song that sampled the Suspiria theme, which I love the music in Suspiria, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do that. So yeah. That was Terry Gilliam's fight against the producers, and Keynes' fight with Terry Gilliam. I am
Thanks,
too.
Keynes.
Thanks, Keynes. Thanks for releasing Terry Gilliam's
I'm not as invested in movies like you are, but like, man, that's some good shit.
Yeah. Okay. The next thing, John Korchinsky, the guy from The Office, who directed
which guy from The Office? You mean the guy who directed The Office?
No.
Dwight?
No. The other guy. The guy who's not Dwight.
The guy who torments Dwight.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The actor who plays that, who directed A Quiet Place.
Okay.
His next film is going to be a sci-fi thriller. It's going to be a sci-fi horror movie about life on Mars called Life on Mars.
Ooh.
Yeah. Me too.
You know what would be really interesting if they did with that is, you know how there's no sound in space? If they just made the whole movie, like, silent and there were aliens, and... Man, that'd make a really good movie.
There is sound on Mars. So yeah, that's
he made a movie about Earth where it was silent, and he's making a movie about space where there's sound. Man, what a visionary.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that yet. It could be silent. Who knows? So yeah, that's exciting. Look forward to that. The next one is the Chicken Run sequel. Aardman is making a Chicken Run sequel. Chicken Run's good. I like Chicken Run. I love Aardman. I haven't seen their most recent movie, but I've seen all of their other movies, so you know. Chicken Run sequel. Yay! All right. Now let's move on to video game stories because we have a little bit more of those. So, as we did,
I have a question.
Okay, hit me with it.
What's Chicken Run?
Okay, so just those chickens are up to something.
Can you put the stories in the Twitch chat so that I can click on them just in case I need a refresher?
Sure.
Because
on what Chicken Run is?
No, the video game stories when we go to those.
All right, yeah. All right, so, oh right, no, this is. I have to scroll up a little bit because we still have like a bunch.
Oh,
of
we
stuff.
have a lot of video game news to cover.
Yeah, a lot of video game stuff. Oh boy. So the first one is yeah, let me open up the fucking Twitch chat. Oh shoot, there it is. Would you please leave me alone?
Well, go ahead and introduce the story.
All right, yeah. The first one is the Firewatch studio was acquired by Valve. Valve bought the people who made Firewatch and are now using them for their nefarious deeds.
Do you think that Valve is going to unban PewDiePie from video games? Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't do that. Good job, Gabe Newell. Keep it up.
Good work, Gabe Newell. Keep it up, man. Keep it up, man. Keep up doing, I mean, basically fucking nothing, but...
But Valve, yeah, that's the point. Valve basically doesn't make video games anymore. Like, why would they acquire a development studio?
Weird that they would acquire this company. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they intend to. Maybe they intend to make more video games, and so they just are kind of...
Maybe they're sick and tired of people making fun of them for not making video games. Maybe they want people to go back to making fun of them for not being able to count to 3. We don't know.
Firewatch 2, Episode 1.
Yeah. Speaking of Valve.
Oh boy.
Valve lost a lawsuit against Australia.
What was the Australia?
Alright, so let's go.
What was the lawsuit?
Hey, could you? Oh, hi.
Okay,
could you open that in any other one of my like 3 Firefox windows? Thanks. Anyway, final appeal. Let's see what they were talking about. Upheld ruling against Valve in Australia. A lawsuit filed against it in 2004 by Australia's Competition and Consumer Commission over the lack of a refund policy.
But
so they sued them over the lack of the refund policy.
But they implemented a refund policy in 2015.
Yeah.
Apparently, the suit was filed in relation to the years prior to that.
Okay.
Valve had actually issued more than 15,000 refunds during the relevant period to players who were unable to install or play a game, but nearly 25 million Australian consumers agreed to Steam's terms and conditions. The judge ruled that it was impossible to calculate precise numbers of consumers who were affected by the misrep.
Right.
Which is...
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, like... I guess Australia... laws work differently, but
yeah,
if you sit there and read the terms and conditions like only nerds do, but you should, and Valve says once you purchase a game, it is non-refundable, and you accept those terms and conditions.
Yeah,
it's like, where do you get off countersuing them? Well, you get off countersuing them because you didn't actually read the terms and conditions, which is what those terms and conditions are there for.
Well, yeah, that's true, but that was one of the things that actually got brought up in the Mark Zuckerberg thing recently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that is the question of, do people actually read the terms and conditions? It's a like feasibly everyone reads the terms and conditions, but really nobody does.
Right.
You know. And it's like some of the stuff that's like really important is like in the terms and conditions, like inside the terms and conditions somewhere. And the thing is, the truth is though, when like Facebook does the thing that's kind of shady about their terms and conditions, like and Valve too, if they put something like that, people will call them out for it. Like there are people who do read the terms and conditions. So if something fucky is going on with the terms and conditions, you're probably going to hear about it.
Yeah. They get called out for it, but if you use the platform, you've accepted the terms and conditions. If you want to call them out on it, you should not use the platform and then call them out on it.
Yeah.
Because if you're accepting those terms, like, it's not a matter of something like breaking this seal voids warranty. That's like, not accepting terms and conditions. When you sign up for something, you are given a document that you are intended to read, and you have to actively click the accept button. Use it.
Yeah.
So it feels a little different to me. But I don't know. Like, if you put shitty shit in your current terms and conditions, then you should be called out for it. I don't think you really should have a right to be called out by someone who has accepted those terms and conditions and continues to use your platform.
Right.
I'm sure that many people disagree with me on that point, but
yeah,
you should read your terms and conditions. You should know if a company is trying to screw you over.
Yeah.
Especially if it involves money.
All right. The next one is this one's actually one that we've gotten we got here twice, I think. Oh no, this is two completely different companies. So I'm just gonna bundle these two together.
Okay.
So first off, let's talk about the one in the Danish gambling authority says that loot boxes are gambling if items cannot be traded. And they have a rule.
If items can be traded, because if the items can be traded, then they have a value, and you are paying something to have a chance at gaining something with value. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So things such as Overwatch loot boxes or League of Legends skins and stuff, those would not be considered gambling in Denmark
because you can't trade them.
Yeah, you pay for the chance at getting one of those things for you to have, and that's it. Things such as Team Fortress 2 crates, PlayerUnknown Battleground crates, Counter-Strike Go crates, those are all considered gambling. Those are especially egregious in this case because they can be traded back for real money. Yeah. So, due to the fact that it's dependent on whether something has value. Yeah. To somebody else. Like, it could be valuable to you, like, oh, I finally got the Jiangxi Mei skin. That is not considered value for this purpose. It's only if you can get some sort of monetary value back out of it. Yeah. And this next one is a story. Where was it? It was Belgium, I believe. There it is. Yeah, Belgium straight up declared that loot boxes are criminal gambling. Like, just dead ass, just put down the hammer, criminal gambling, and good. I mean, good for them. I don't have as big of a problem with most loot boxes as many people do. I think Overwatch loot boxes are fine. I think
I think they're fine.
I think cosmetic unlock loot boxes are fine. I don't really care. Yeah. Especially if there's a way to earn them in the game. That makes it even better. I would rather have a way to earn currency towards buying what I want, or earn currency towards purchasing different different skins. Yeah, I would rather earn currency towards purchasing what I want. But if you can earn your loot boxes in game, especially if it's really easy, then I don't really care if you try to charge money for them. However,
things like Battlefront 2.
Yeah, things like Battlefront 2, or even I don't mind TF2 or Counter-Strike, Dota. I don't mind those loot boxes. Like, the trading thing makes no difference to me because they are mostly cosmetic or side grades like that. But it does feel like trying to step outside of the box and look at it. It does feel like this type of community worth of stuff, like there are things that people will pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for to have on their account, and that leads people to buy more crates and buy more loot boxes with the hopes of getting those $100 items so that they can either make their money back or make just have it for cred or whatever. And so that is almost that is extremely reminiscent of gambling. I still believe it's different enough that I don't know that a country should make legislation on it, but I do think that it's
so egregious about it that at this point
companies have been so egregious about it. But I think the bigger issue, the issue in Denmark is basically all of Valve's loot boxes. That's what they're pretty much targeting, and I think that the way that people respond to it is close enough to like playing a slot machine that if they want to ban out gambling, then that's it. It doesn't feel like a slap in the face or anything. It doesn't feel like they're being unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like, it is close enough to the same thing. Because I gamble. I live near Las Vegas. I gamble. It's the same thing as pulling a slot machine. You're like, oh man, I spent $25 on keys. But if I just spend $25 more on keys, maybe I'll get an item that was worth $100. It's very similar. So I understand where these legislations are coming from on that front. I feel like with like cosmetic loot boxes that are non-tradable, it does seem different with the legislation because it doesn't like gambling is addictive because you're losing money, and the rationale is if you continue to put money in, you can get your money back. But cosmetic loot boxes don't have that rationale. There is no way somebody could think that way about them. They will not get their money back, no matter what. If they are throwing money and money and money and money into these cosmetic loot boxes that are non-tradable, no monetary value, nothing like that, then they aren't getting money back out of it. They are getting enjoyment of the game, but that's the same, like, at what point do you start differentiating that from purchasing a game or microtransactions in a game?
Yeah.
Like buying more energy in an MMO so that you can continue to play longer, or a subscription fee. Like
you know what? I completely agree. We shouldn't differentiate and call that gambling too, because fuck that.
Oh yeah. Paying $15 a month to continue playing WoW, yeah, that's gambling. What are you fucking talking about? Fuck you. It's not gambling. A subscription fee is not gambling. Buying video games is not gambling.
No. What I mean is like power. I'm talking about like phone microtransactions. Fuck that shit.
Even then, a lot of phone microtransactions aren't gambling. Some of them are, because you have these things like little gachapon machines where you can get stronger units.
Yeah.
But
that's what I mean.
Things like restoring your energy so you can continue to play, those aren't. There's no way those could be considered gambling. I think the problem is the definition, the way that they define gambling, right? So the issue with gambling, like real gambling, going to a casino, playing blackjack, spending money to try and make money. The real issue with that is that you're losing money. Like, it was just like I said earlier, you're losing money with the hope that you might get lucky and get your money back. When you are throwing money at something with the intent to get a specific object, that is not the same thing. It doesn't invoke the same feeling. It's not like you lose a bunch of money and then you're like, I just gotta keep going. Like the problem with gambling and the reason they outlaw it is because it's predatory.
Feeling that they're looking at, it's the like the ability for the company to be like, you know, it's more just the money losing aspect, and people do get sucked into this like gambling. They straight up do get sucked into these things.
But that's what I'm getting at. A lot of times, the problem with gambling is that people can straight up get addicted to it. They feel that they've lost so much that they have to keep playing or else. Whereas there comes a point in time for most people, like there's some people, like, you can't just make legislation because of a minority, right? There's a majority of people. Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but a majority of people, when they're gambling, like, say, for a specific object, right? Say I really want the cool new Reinhardt skin that came out. I'm going to keep buying loot boxes until two things happen. One, I get the item, and then I stop buying loot boxes. Two, I do not get the item, but I've spent like $100 and I'm like, I'm getting really burned. This fucking sucks. I'm not gonna buy any more loot boxes. Those two things are gonna happen. But if I could get a skin that's worth $200 and I spend $100, then I'm like, okay, well, I can spend $125 because I'll still make $75 back. I could spend $150, I'll still make $50. I could spend $175, I'll still make $25.
It's not only, here's the thing. You're getting caught up in like how the people feel, whereas the government is looking at it like, okay, this is a thing that you have a chance, that you are paying for a thing that you have a chance to not get what you want. You are giving money to something that is not guaranteed to give you what you want. You are paying for a chance to get what you want.
Right.
Which is what they're looking at.
But that's what I'm saying.
And you're looking at it very like almost metaphysically, as though like, the people will see, what's that? The people will see it like this. Okay, so if I'm good. If I'm good, I'm good. The people will see it like this, and again, they're looking at it from a purely like they are paying money, and they're not paying money for a product. They're paying money for a chance to get a thing, the chance to get what they want, and they see that as gambling. Right. Which is how they're looking at it.
I'm not necessarily arguing over what gambling is. I'm not arguing over how they are looking at it. I'm arguing over how they should look at it.
Right.
Because what I'm basically getting at is that the main issue with gambling is that kind of treadmill of trying to earn your money back. Where that's the reason that so many people fall prey to gambling addiction. That's the reason that casinos are outlawed in many states. That's the reason that gambling is just considered a predatory practice, because it promises you the chance to earn your money back. Whereas
loot
boxes promise you something that, like, a specific thing that you intend to get. It's not as easy to fall into loot box addiction as it is to slot machine addiction.
Yeah.
And
some people are.
Some people
are.
That
is happening. That's the problem, is that
some people also do things like kill people. So
well, I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. More people are falling into the loot box addiction than killing people.
Right.
That's the thing. It is a large number of people falling into this. I need to get all of the loot boxes.
And now I'm
with money.
I want to say I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here too.
Yeah.
Especially because Sane isn't here. He loves doing that. But I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. I'm glad something is being done about loot boxes.
Yeah.
I think that Belgium is taking it to a criminal extreme, or to an extreme, by classifying it as criminal gambling. It would be the same thing, like a video game company putting a loot box in their game would be the same thing as some guy going into a bar and opening a casino in the back room. That's pretty outlandish, if you ask me. But I'm glad that things are happening about these loot boxes, so that companies are less likely to put in predatory loot box practices. Because let's be honest, some of them you just have to buy them to function in the game, like Battlefield 2 on release. You had to buy them. You could not function.
Yeah.
After paying for the game as it is. But what I'm kind of worried about is, where does that where does it stop? If you take this to the logical extreme, it's like, whoa, well, people are buying $500 worth of video games in a week. That's video game addiction. We've got to make it so that you can only spend $200 on video games
here's
every
the
week.
thing. The difference is the whole gambling thing. Gambling is like a specific gambling thing. So like the logical extreme wouldn't be like video game addiction, because it's not that way with any other art form. Like they wouldn't do that for like movies or purchasing expensive fucking paintings or stuff like that, or even like substance abuse, like alcohol addiction. The thing is, like, it's specifically against gambling. So like the logical extreme would be more like they consider something crazy gambling. But honestly, if you take this shit to the logical extreme, that's fine. If honestly, I'm a huge proponent of a video game. If it costs $60, that's all I should have to pay for all of the content that the video game will ever have.
Sure. I think that DLCs that are made after the fact are fine.
I feel like there are some DLCs that are fine. For instance, like Shovel Knight's DLCs.
Let's take like StarCraft Brood War, for example.
Yeah.
Brood War was an expansion pack. I think that anything that you could reasonably define as an expansion pack is fine.
Yeah.
I think that things like
a large chunk of the game that adds like as much more or very slightly less than the original game
right.
had.
Whereas things like Mass Effect 3 just flat out pulling out a character that was in the game's files on release so that they could sell it as DLC on day one.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah. So let's move on.
Sure.
The next one is something that I think we can all agree is bad. Russian streamers claim that Twitch is being blocked by the Russian government.
It is. It's not a claim.
Twitch, it's not. Oh, we got it. All right. Well, it's been like a week since this has happened.
I don't know if it's still happening.
Blocking Twitch,
but Twitch is unable to be used in Russia. You can't access it, and you could access it with like a VPN, but then like
it would lag.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Russia too.
But
still.
So the issue is that what Russia did, I believe, Sane explained this to me. I'm not 100% certain on all the facts, but Sane explained it to me last week, so I have to kind of remember. Russia wanted to basically strong-arm Google and Amazon services into complying with either some of their laws or just some of the things they basically just wanted Google to do. And Google was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so, as a result, Russia has blocked, or had at the time, I don't know if this is still going on, I haven't looked more into it, but had at the time basically blocked all of Google and Amazon services. And Twitch is owned by Amazon. So, in relation to video games, Russian streamers just can't stream.
Yeah.
Because, of course, there are internet service there are ways to get around it. There are also internet service providers that are like, haha, fuck you, Russia, we're not blocking anything. Russia doesn't have like the same ISP things as China, where China can just like flip a switch and do whatever they want with all the internet in the country.
Is basically
Russia had to put out an order to the ISPs in their country to block Google and Amazon, and a lot of ISPs were like, no.
Yeah.
We would rather fight the Russian government than fight with Google.
Yeah, because Google can do more to a company than the Russian government can, believe it or not. They're a fucking superpower.
Exactly. So many Russian streamers are pissed off because they can't stream. They can't watch Twitch. It's just basically Twitch, Amazon. They can't use Google. Could you imagine for a day if you could not use Google? Think about this. Think about this. How many Android phones do you think there are in Russia? Android essentially runs off of Google services. This made people's phones basically phones from 1998, where literally all you can do is do a phone call. Even then, that's questionable. Like, could you do a phone call? Depends on your fucking phone service. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Russia is continuing to be fucking crazy. Thanks, Putin. I'm gonna go draw more porn of Zabi Vaca. Go fuck yourself.
Good job, Zabi Vaca.
Zabi Vaca!
No! Yeah, so it's like, and this is the kind of thing that people are afraid of with the like SOPA and PIPA acts and stuff like that, and it's...
Well, no. People aren't afraid of like them blocking stuff. People are afraid of like raising prices arbitrarily, because in America the government doesn't run shit. And if the government doesn't have complete control over anything, then companies can do whatever the fuck they want, basically. And like Comcast runs a straight up monopoly, like in a lot of places. Where I live, especially. I wouldn't be using Comcast if they did not have a monopoly. So they got me by the balls, and if they have complete control over that shit, I'm fucked.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Like this is the kind of thing that people worry about, though, or are worried about, though. So it's pretty. Like, I always just like fucking ignore every time one of these hundreds of bills that come out every month are like, they're gonna break the internet. I just ignore it. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I've signed enough of these petitions. But
I mean that's
seeing
the thing. Like,
this, seeing this in action. Here's the thing, that what is happening here is that the government is forcing the companies into doing something that they don't want to do, because the companies would rather stay on Google's good side than they would Russia's good side. That's what I think it was SOPA that gave control of the entire internet to the government.
No, it was the same thing.
Removing
net neutrality.
One of them, okay, well, I don't know. One of them, what people were shaking in their boots about was that the government would control everything you could see. I know that was one of them. I don't know if that was actually true for any of these bills that they tried to pass in the U.S., but that was one of them what people were afraid of, regardless of whether it was true or not, because
I don't actually know.
all of these campaigns,
the ones I'm thinking is removing net neutrality. Which
a lot of political campaigns are controlled on both sides by fear-mongering, including internet campaigns to sign a petition to stop shit. Right. It's a lot of it is just like fear-mongering, which is the same thing that these same people I'm getting too into political. But people are like, the whole internet is basically never going to exist anymore. And people are like, oh my God, really?
Well, here's the thing. You do have to realize that these motherfucking companies are willing to do very bullshit things and are already doing that, even though it is the internet, like, they cannot throttle this stuff. Like, for instance, if you don't use Internet Explorer, you can't use fucking Netflix in HTML5, or you couldn't used to. I don't know if you can now. It's stuff like that where like people will have to pay out the ass to be able to fucking have be able to go to specific websites. Like there are a bunch of different countries that have to deal with that shit. Like they have to buy specific internet packages to access specific internet pages.
I don't know. I really don't want to get into an argument about this, regardless of whether it's a friendly argument or not. What I'm saying in the end is like, this is what people were afraid would happen if these bills passed, and it's actually happening in Russia.
Well, it's been happening in China for...
And of course it's been happening in China for years, but like this...
Well, it's been happening in Russia for a lot too, but this is just like... this just happened
This is like particularly... I don't know, this is like particularly bad because it's Google. Basically, the entire internet runs on Google and Amazon. Like, whatever's not owned by Google is owned by Amazon. Is Amazon owned by Google? I don't even know. I don't think so, because they treat their employees like shit and Google doesn't. But, but yeah.
That's the big difference.
Yeah, Google and Amazon services, at least were, blocked in Russia. This is the kind of shit that people were, like, fear-mongering about, which, like, let's be real. If you're gonna block something, it ain't gonna be Google. Google's just going to throw money at you until you unblock them. Or throw money at lawyers until you unblock them. And that's what people were saying might happen. And it wasn't going to because of reasons, the fact that Google basically is the whole internet. But it is happening in Russia, and it's government controlled, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah. So
and it might be lifted soon. We don't know. Google might still be throwing money currently. They just need to throw enough money.
Exactly. So, and they've got it.
The next thing is another thing we can all agree is a bad thing. Microsoft shut down Halo Online. So speaking of Russia, there was Microsoft made a mod. Well, it was going to be Halo Online, which was basically all of the assets from Halo 3 that you could play it just online on the PC, right?
Right.
They made this and it was Russia only, and it was like in fucking development forever. I think they shut it down. And mod maker El Dorito found all of the assets, like after it was shut down or whatever, and brought it to the United States and let everyone play it. And then Microsoft shut them down. Maybe Microsoft's gonna make it for America. I don't know. I don't expect them to.
See, here's the thing.
I
Okay,
don't see it coming.
this is another one that I'm conflicted on because one, when companies shut down free games that are using their IP, it feels stupid. If people really like this free game, right? Because and it's using your own IP. You could easily you could have just made that game, or for much
do that with Metroid 2.
much cheaper, you could just hire the person that's developing the mod that uses your IP.
Yeah, just buy their company.
Just buy their company or buy them, hire them, say, I want you to develop this game for us, and we will sell it. And they might refuse, and then you can hit them with a cease and desist order because it's your IP. But monetarily, it's a much better idea to hire the people that are using your IP.
Yeah. Thanks, Disney, for fucking copyright law.
Yeah.
The mouse will never die. The mouse will never die.
I don't know. It's like very strange that, but if he's making money off of Halo Online, then I can see why they would want to shut it down. He wasn't. He was just releasing it for free. Yeah. But like, at the same time, like you said, thanks the mouse for copyright law. You have to protect your IP. You have to. If they let Halo Online go, then they might lose the rights to Halo. Could you fucking imagine Microsoft losing the rights to Halo because some mod
Halo being in fucking public domain?
Yeah, could you imagine that? Like, it'd be ridiculous. So, they have to do it, but there are better creative ways to get around that, which would also make you more money.
Yeah.
Also, like, in this particular situation, he was straight up using assets from Halo Online, which was like, it's not like he, like, modeled fucking Master Chiefs to be running around everywhere. He just basically released Halo Online from Russia to So, like, I get it. That was something that they spent development time on, and he just, like, we can call him modder all we want. He basically just stole all of the resources and changed some code a little bit. It's like a sticky situation. There are like much different situations that would be better for what I was talking about, where like just hiring them to develop this would be a better idea. Like,
but this is just straight up like they did just take Halo Online and port it to America.
Yeah, which I would have liked to play Halo Online.
I played a little bit of it.
But I totally understand why Microsoft would want to shut it down.
Yeah.
Copyright law aside, it's like, it's not even just their IP, it's their assets. So. Yeah. Do we have much more?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's keep going.
Let's blow through it, I guess.
Sure.
Next is Nintendo, the Nintendo Z3, they're gonna talk about Smash Bros. And have a tournament on it.
Wait. That was wrong.
Well, you were close.
Squid Kids.
Yeah, so on E3, I guess more news will come about when E3 comes.
Yeah, more news about Smash Bros. I just kind of want to
have Smash Bros at E3.
We'll just say that.
As you assumed.
Again.
Squid Kid's gonna be there.
And it's time. Reggie's been practicing on Smash Bros for the 3DS. He's gonna come back and he's gonna kick Hungry Box's ass.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm excited.
I don't actually know that Hungry Box was the one he was talking to. It's the only Smash.
It was a Smash player. So the Switch can fucking be hacked because there was a goddamn hardware thing in the Switch that allows it to be jailbroken.
Okay.
Yay!
Good to know. That's pretty much every single.
Also, you can run Dolphin, the GameCube emulator on it, and Wii U emulator. Yeah.
People would be much less. Here's another thing: companies just blocking, Like, they're not blocking it yet, but companies shouldn't block shit. They should just give you better options. Like, if they added GameCube games to the Nintendo eShop, if they did that forever ago, I'm sure that many people wouldn't have jailbroken their fucking Wiis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's and people wouldn't jailbreak their iPhones and their Android phones, etc., 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 etc.
Yeah. If they just gave you better. But that said, it's cool that it can be jailbroken. I hope that Nintendo responds to it not by bricking consoles, but instead
Basically,
by...
there's nothing they can do about it. It's a hardware level. They're fucked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's nothing they can do about it. It's built into the fucking Wii or the fucking Switch.
They can probably fix the hardware errors with newer consoles, but
oh yeah, yeah. So the next one, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, where they use where they completely forget how fucking Roman numerals work. It's not gonna have a single player.
What?
And it's going to have a battle royale mode.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. However,
that's awful.
In news about games that are good, Stardew Valley has its co-op in beta right now, and you can play it. Yay!
Hell yes. That's actually really exciting.
Yeah.
Really
Another thing is
exciting.
really exciting, and me and Dalsson talked a little bit about this last night. They're making changes to Symmetra.
Yes. Symmetra changes in Overwatch. So I think I remember generally what the changes were. So
yeah,
the first and final thing that I honestly believe is going to fix Symmetra from the ground up. It will just straight up fix her.
Mm-hmm.
Her beam no longer locks on. This is all in playtesting. This is not even on the PTR. It is just in internal playtesting, so they're iterating on it. So keep that in mind. Take this all with a grain of salt. Her beam no longer locks on. What her beam does is it fires in a straight line a la Zarya. It does still ramp up damage as you deal damage to people, but it can ramp up to significantly higher damage in order to, give people reward for aiming better. Her turrets. She is down from 6 active turrets to 3 active turrets. However, she can fire them in a straight line like a Farah rocket, and they will stick to the first surface that they go. Which allows her to set up faster and use her turrets more offensively. Now, here's the real crazy changes. Her teleporter is no longer her ultimate ability, it is her E ability. And what it does is it will place a teleporter at her feet and another teleporter somewhere that you're aiming at. And your allies can still use the teleporter freely. So this can open up some crazy potential for like people who just can't get places to get to places they shouldn't have, or like Torbjorn turrets in new places, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Many teams rely on Mei to get to high places, and that takes a lot of setup. Whereas if you can just pop down a Symmetra teleporter, like getting to these weird flank routes would be much easier for many people. Like Tracer, for example, who can't necessarily gain height, or Sombra could teleport to one direction and then teleport back with Symmetra, stuff like that. Really cool.
There's a little bit of team play.
Yeah, a lot of team play potential.
Yeah.
And then there is her ultimate, which is now her photon barrier. The way that they're iterating it currently is it is a barrier that has 5,000 health and is placeable, like a stationarily placeable with infinite range. You can place it anywhere on the map. It has 5,000 health and it stretches as far as it can go.
Ooh.
So you can just block off an entire choke point with a 500 health barrier. Or a 5,000 health barrier, I'm sorry. That is like
a huge difference. That's like one tank.
That's like 2.5 Reinhardt.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 Reinhardt barriers.
That's fucking crazy.
But that to me sounds like it's still not powerful enough for an ultimate. It would have to charge pretty fast. Like maybe Tracer Bomb fast.
Yeah. Hey, it might. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all of the Symmetra abilities they're iterating on. Oh yes, and her right click ability that fires the orb. that pierces stuff currently.
Yeah.
The way they're iterating it now is instead of piercing stuff, it will collide with something and explode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so Symmetra just with this state that they're talking about, Symmetra just seems a lot more balanced. It gives her more power in other places and takes away the power from the one place that is just totally bullshit. Symmetra, everybody, okay, in low tier people complain about Symmetra because they can't aim and Symmetra doesn't have to aim, so her aiming, or like them trying to aim at Symmetra's head and kill her quickly will make it so that her damage ramps up and you die, and then her damage is ramped up and she wipes your whole. In high tier play, Symmetra is completely fucking worthless because she never gets the time to ramp up her damage before.
Because she's always killed immediately.
Yeah, before she gets killed immediately because everybody can aim almost perfectly. So
yeah, so basically,
no matter
what
where you look at, no matter where it is, Symmetra's imbalanced. OP or underpowered, it doesn't matter.
Trash or great, depending.
Yeah, but there's no level of play in which Symmetra is balanced. So these changes are just good. Also, they're moving her from support to defense. These changes are just good because her turrets, which are kind of her defining feature, can be used more offensively and in more situations and faster. Her beam, so that's basically a buff. Her teleporter can be used to create strategic plays, which isn't necessarily a buff, but very nice. You know, it's good for teamwork and team play. And her beam is getting its lock-on feature removed, but gaining more potential damage. So it's more rewarding for skilled players to play her. Also, the beam can still charge up on shields. So she's kind of almost a shield buster in some points. Like 200 damage per second, even against a Reinhardt shield. That's going to go down really fast.
Yeah, complete rework for
Complete rework. And thank God, because she needed it. Anytime you saw Symmetra,
really
it just was not good news.
So the next one and our last piece of news is that Steam Spy ain't dead after all.
Oh?
We talked a little bit about last time about how Steam Spy had died because of Steam's new privacy changes. Most of the old Steam Spy features will be brought back. A lot of it isn't working yet. The biggest issue is accuracy. What he's doing is he is using this data for about 70 games from different developers and the new Steam Spy is and a 10% margin of error for 90% of them. He basically used his ability he used his PhD for predicting economic outcomes on fucking, sales. So basically, like, if it says a certain amount of sales, he can get, like, within a 10% margin of how much it is being sold.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I figured, I don't know, Steam Spy already used its low amount of data to extrapolate data and find total number of sales. Now he just kind of had to work with a even lower amount of data to extrapolate sales. So it's not like Steam Spy changed fundamentally, just really the numbers changed. The numbers that he had to work with. Because you can still set your profile to public and stuff. And especially now that more people have caught on to what Steam did there, more people are setting their profile to public because places like I got an email from Green Man Gaming the other day says, hey, make sure you set your Steam profile to public or we can't give you deals that you like.
Yeah.
So like more and more people are catching on, Yeah. So that's good. Glad Steam Spy isn't dead. It was useful data to some people. I never really used it, but it was useful. Yeah. I believe that's all the news we have.
That's it.
Unless any emergency
what are you doing
news.
on your stream?
What am I doing on my stream? I'm still working on Ni no Kuni 2 in my morning streams on Friday and Saturday. I think for Thursday, one of these Thursdays, we're gonna play For the King.
Yeah.
That's an intention.
Yeah.
Assuming Thel doesn't forget and go see a movie titled For the King.
I'm not gonna do it again this time.
this time. Next week though, no promises.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I'm kind of trying to move more towards playing a new game. Maybe something that I get off of WoovIt, or just something that's interested me, and I can sit down and play for a couple of hours before the podcast, just so that I'll have something to talk about on the podcast. That's what I did with Lobotomy Corporation today.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up for my stream. Thel, what do you have going on?
This week I ain't got nothing except the Little Nightmares video. And after that,
But what came out last week that we didn't get to
last
mention?
week on Friday I had a Hollow Knight video out. That's all you fucking already know.
Just
about
in
that.
case anybody watching this podcast doesn't know about the Hollow Knight videos, I can't imagine you wouldn't.
Yeah, there is that. And in next week, on Friday, I'm going to be putting out a Euro Truck Simulator 2 video.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
For a
Long
couple
story
minutes.
short, I wanted to do one of those for a long time, but I couldn't think of enough jokes, and I finally thought of a couple of jokes.
You finally thought of a couple of jokes. Okay, good. I'm glad we have jokes.
Yes. That was the problem. I wanted to do a Euro Truck Simulator video forever because I actually enjoy playing that game.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
All right, Sane, do you have anything coming out on our YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Sane says no.
I see.
All right, so with that, I believe that will be the end of our podcast.
All hail Gravedigger.
All hail Gravedigger. And God, Sane usually introduces me on this. I don't know if I can get it right. Hang on. Okay. Remember,
You got this, man.
everybody,
You got it. Oh, you got it, man.
to
Man,
stay
Come on.
beautiful.
Come on. Hey! Good work.